Hi, welcome to today's Next Normal show. And we have a fantastic guest here with Stephen. And we talk about autonomous decision science. And this is a topic not only for the future, it's already a topic which is hot today and will be even hotter and more relevant for the future. And there's nobody better to talk on that topic than Stephen, and it's a pleasure to have you here. And Stephen told me he is the bridge between science and business, and I think that's the interesting part, because for a normal person, even a tech geek like myself, autonomous decision science seems very scientific, but actually to translate science to business is a very, very special gift and a very special way to go. So I'm happy to hand over to Stephen. Please, Stephen, introduce yourself to the audience.
Well, thank you very much, Joseph. I appreciate the opportunity to chat with you today. Yeah, we've had some very interesting lead-up conversations, and I look forward to this dialogue. But I'm Steve DeAngelis. I'm the president of Ventera Solutions. We are a autonomous decision sciences company based in the United States, and we focus work on optimizing the value chains of very large and mid-sized companies, principally in the consumer products and retail sector. And one of the things that I thought we'd start out the conversation with is defining autonomous decision science for you. Most of you are well familiar with data science, and data science being the analysis of data using statistics or machine learning tools, requiring very skilled humans to process that data, analyze it, and derive insights from that. Well, autonomous decision science, think of it as the next step in the journey beyond data science, where the machine plays the role of the data scientist or the subject matter expert and allows you to get enterprise scalability in the analysis and enterprise activation of insights to run your business much more efficiently at the speed of the market, to make decisions so you can take advantage of market opportunities as quickly as possible. And we feel that this is not an incremental improvement of data science. It actually is a fundamental paradigm shift where a reliable functional artificial intelligence can reason in a human-like fashion to make judgment-based decisions in order to gain leverage in the analysis of data and sort of break the bonds of being constrained by numbers of humans having to perform that analysis. So with that, that was a little bit of a quick backdrop that I hope could lead into the dialogue that we're going to have, Joseph, today.
No, great. And I think that's a good head start, because in the end, and we talked about it, Stephen is in a hotel, and besides retail, hospitality, those are the fields that I'm in a lot, and that also ADS solutions is science is relevant. But when you look at the hotel, how many touch points do you have? You have the check-in, you have the reservation, you have beverage. Do you dine in? Do you dine out? What do you do on the TV? What kind of newspapers do you read? What kind of extra pills you order? There's so many touch points in order to say, what can I do better? And when we talked before, I worked in a bar as a bartender, as a student. You cannot wait for your customer until the bottle is empty and the customer will tell you, can I please order another bottle? No, in good hospitality, you have to have the science before and say, did you like the wine? Do you want to try something else? Was this too fruity? Or do you want the same one? Are you happy? So you have to get to your customer. And I think that's the interesting part, to look at ADS. And that's things that for somebody who's not that involved, I thought, okay, I know it's used very context specific, for example, for claims management, or for in due diligence rooms for contract matching, or those things, but very, very narrow, very context related. And I think that's a point where I really want to dive in also and want to hear your expertise. It's actually not that, and especially it's not that what Entera Solution is doing. It's on a much broader scale.
Well, I think that the context this is getting, and that's where the paradigm shift comes from, Joseph. Getting beyond the sort of very structured robotic-like functions that contract matching, as you mentioned earlier, or claims adjudication, right? Where it's very if this, then that, very structured, right? When you talked about someone coming into the hotel, that's an example of hyper-personalized recommendations, right? Being able to understand Joseph's personal preferences or Jane's personal preferences as he or she go into the hotel and matches their particular needs, their way of being greeted as if they're the most important guest in the hotel. Well, to be able to do that, we have relied upon humans who are familiar with people at the front desk and the concierges and others who, if you've been to the hotel before, they would know that, maybe, right? However, today, if we could understand that Steve's account number at the hotel chain shows that I'm visiting and it has all my preferences in it, and it knows the context of the season of the year or the week of the year or the holiday or the particular type of shows you like to go to when you're in town, that hotel could make personalized recommendations for you. Now, at companies the size of large global hotel chains, that's easy to do if you're doing it with a very small number of people. It's not easy to do when you're doing it with millions of people, right? You need a machine, a system to be able to diagnose the data, understand the environmental context that the person's coming to the hotel at, and then be able to make those recommendations. And that's what ADS does. It allows you across the value chain, where you start upstream with hyper-personalized consumer insights that we were just speaking about, right? Or personalized flavor and sensory preferences for a consumer as it relates to food or beverages or fragrances or the aroma of laundry detergents or personal care items, right? Those consumer insights then inform revenue optimization capabilities, where you optimize the trade promotion pricing, the trade promotion campaign rather, the pricing, the media mix assortment, and the assortment on the shelf in the retail store. How do we get the right mix of those revenue driver levers in order to maximize the products to the consumer at the right price at the right time? And then getting a strong signal from that flows into demand and supply chain planning, right? And the notion was that we posited that ADS has the capability of being the underlying platform through which consumer insight applications, revenue management applications, and demand and supply balancing applications can all play on top of the same platform, sharing information and pulling that signal from the consumer insights upstream to supply chain downstream, and generating and unlocking rather tremendous amount of value that was siloed up along the value chain historically. But you can only do that when you have a machine that can analyze data, generate optimizations, and then make a decision from those things at the speed of the market.
Yeah, I think that only to come back. So there are 2 points. The one is we talked about skilled labor and silos. So for me, that's very, very, very graphical. I have silos, and in order to have the good performance, I need to have a skilled person in each silo, and they all have to know each other and correlate. And I think especially during COVID, and I mean, this is a hardcore retail and hospitality issue at the moment, is where's the skilled labor? The labor who was in the stores interacting with the customers or working in the kitchens to prepare certain meals or to handle stuff. I mean, maybe they're in an Amazon distribution center at the moment because that was the place to go during the crisis when things were locked down. But what do you do if some of those silos are not staffed or not staffable anymore with skilled labor? And I think that's two crucial points to look maybe about potential growth of ADS in that point?
Definitely. I mean, look, I think that the ability to analyze the data, like I said, at the speed of the market. You remember Wayne Gretzky? You remember the famous Canadian hockey player would say, "I skate to where the puck needs to be. I don't skate to where the puck is." Right? That capability, that innate sense of where the puck needs to be, is what ADS allows you to do. By being able to analyze data at the speed of the market, you can position inventory, you can position people, you can position products on a shelf in a way that maximizes the ability for the consumer in that regional geography, right, to be able to get the products that they need at the time that they need it in the optimal price and promotion that is necessary to drive the most amount of sales to that particular product. And all of that is very, very complicated, right? It's, when I came to this business, I never realized how complicated the math was, right? In all this, it's it sounds very nerdy and but being able to do this, Joseph, with predictability and accuracy is not so easy, right? And be able to use human-like judgment is more not so easy, right? It's a very, very difficult task, right? Because humans are really good at understanding subtlety and environmental-based decision logic, right? What ADS, the reason I think ADS is a breakthrough, is that it leverages the mathematics, right? The best optimal answer through a decision-making environment as if it was the best person making that decision. So in your example, where you have humans along the silo, what happens in the new environment today where we're seeing wage inflation for the first time in decades, right? People are going to be moving jobs from company to company. As someone leaves that job, that siloed player who talked to their colleagues is gone, and that could be a link in the chain that's no longer there. So companies really, in my opinion, in the future can't be bound by just humans. We need to leverage and augment humans with the best analysis and build that logic into the system such that we can operate as efficiently as we can. And this is not a call, by the way, to replace jobs. This is a call to move jobs up to a higher skill set so those people can utilize insights that the machine is doing in the most effective way, so they don't have to spend time doing rote calculations. They could spend time applying those insights to making better business choices.
Yeah, I think that's, in that context, that's always the standard. Oh, it's destroying workplaces. I mean, we saw it in our company very easy with for example, QSR chains, so quick serve restaurant, fast food chains, where whenever you had a self-serving kiosk in there, people were thinking they were losing jobs, but in the end, the jobs just got more meaningful. In that sense, you had a certain part which went out, but then you were able to bring the customer the food and have a more meaningful interaction on that side. And I think that's how things will shift. I would have, for example, in a hotel, it's nicer to have an automated check-in and everything done, but have a person bring you to the room and show you some facilities. I mean, that's the question is always, it's not about only reducing labor, but it's actually about bringing more service and more value to the customer journey. And I like maybe in that part what you also mentioned is going through the whole chain. So looking at, for example, the whole retail chain from, let's take sporting goods, from the shoe design with the customers to the production, to the quality check, to the sales channels. So to have all these data points and maybe to ask in that sense, where do we stand today? So where's ADS at the moment? And where do you see it in 3 years in the view of a retail supply chain side?
Sure. No, it's a great question. I think because today we are deploying ADS to some of the leading consumer product firms in the world, right? The firms who have historically used the management science of the day, whether it be total quality management, competitive advantage, Lean and Six Sigma, They have historically, those companies who are leaders in their space have historically used management science of the day to expand their competitive advantage against firms that they compete with in the marketplace. Today, we see those early adopters have adopted the first of these capabilities over the last couple of years. And now we see this starting to expand out to the fast followers, the ones who are both are right in back of the early adopters, starting to inculcate these capabilities into their systems. Where I see this going in 3 years, quite frankly, is those same companies that are the leaders today, right, will start to bring their ecosystem partners onto the same platform, right? They will do three things. One, they will expand. We will land and expand with those clients. So they're expanding their operations both in different applications and in different geographies. So they will move from North America or Europe-centric applications to the rest of the world, right? That is data-driven, right? That has a lot of data to analyze. They will move to those parts. But they will also expand to their ecosystem partners, their suppliers, and their retail partners, or retailers will expand to their consumer packaged goods suppliers, right? And as they start to bring those ecosystems on board, the companies that are the North Stars, I think, will start to show that their ecosystem is more competitive than somebody else's ecosystem. And you'll start to see these ecosystems compete. And I think you'll start to see the early movement into that happening in 3 years as we flesh out, land, and expand the early movers and the fast followers.
And do you see, I mean, when we talked before, some examples, I like to use sporting goods, but when I see the development of Nike and Adidas at the moment, where they cut out resellers and take the data points basically into their own supply chain. I think in the end, and that's a little bit what you say, it will be adopting who can get data points in their ecosystem and control over data points. Because if I don't have the data points and I use ADS, I might make wrong decisions if I don't have the full view. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think companies want to be in control of their own destiny. They want to be able to grab their own data. They want to have the ability to analyze data, right? And they want to be able to make decisions in a way that drives competitive advantage for them, right? So if they could capture, analyze, generate insights, and activate that data as much as they can themselves, where it's efficient, right? Then I believe they want to do that because they want to be the masters of their own destiny. They don't want to be held hostage by a third-party data company or something else. They want to be able to control it or verticalize, if you want to think of it one way, Joseph, as verticalizing the analytic market, the analytic market sector, right?
Yeah.
We typically think about verticalizing industries. This is verticalizing the data within the industry to make good decisions.
And that's maybe a point that is interesting from the discussion we had offline before, is hyperscaler like AWS versus service provider in that sense. Because as you say, if you take a verticalization on the data, doesn't mean you have to have put all the ecosystem in one place or in one hand. It's one decision platform, which typically as a retailer, you probably wouldn't then want to have with Amazon because that will be difficult to have, but you would want to have on a separate line.
I think that I think you're going to see the portion of the marketplace that is these large global companies are really at scale platforms. If you think about it, at the end of the day, whether it be, the best branded leading firms like Nestle or Unilever or Procter & Gamble or others, as really hyper efficient platforms for the manufacturing and distribution of products, right? These are
hyperscalers in a sense, yeah.
Hyperscalers in a sense, right? Because you can't manufacture and distribute these systems, these products, in a one-off way as a small firm. You need the global scalability, the ability to deliver with reliability and efficiency, right? Those cases. So I see at scale players, right, dominating the market, and then local companies playing a very active local role, because I think you'll start to see big and small flourish, right? I think we're going to have difficulties in the middle, right, where you're kind of not a local boutique, you're not the sort of the best cheese shop or the best fish store in the region, but you're also not a global leader like Nestle. You're sort of in the middle, right? And you don't have the scale, but you're not the boutique. And I think there'll be compression on middle-sized firms because the hyperscalers or the at-scale companies, right, will be the ones that are going to be innovating and using their investment in technology, much like they used the investment in the other management sciences previously, to separate themselves from the competition.
Yeah, it's a USP. Like I said, in this sense, it should be part of the business model in the future and seen as a clear USP on that end to be, to deliver better service, but also to have a better business operations in that sense.
I think it's great. I mean, I think if you can maximize service, right, and you can maximize personalization and do it in an efficient way, because the only way you can really maximize service and personalization is to be efficient, right? Because you'll fail if you're not good at it, right? Then I think these investments are going to be, transformative as these firms digitally transform to what we call intelligent enterprises, right? They will use these technologies as the fundamental platform through which that digital transformation happens.
Yeah, and I like let's take it at a recent example. I liked your idea with the ecosystem, but also the platform, and that's just off the discussion. But just thinking about, I had a show in the past where it's about delivery by drone or by autonomous vehicle, or by any other means, or doing a pickup, and I think that's something on autonomous. Is it better to deliver a drone or deliver by car? If you have in the future maybe different services. So if there would be a company who has drone delivery and a company who does car delivery, there needs to be a systematic in the past who will say what makes more sense on an economic level, on a speed level, on certain things. And those are decisions within a customer journey that actually fit very well to an ADS, where I think that's something where you can really raise performance.
I definitely agree with you, and that's not to say that the people who get drones will have their little own drone pads in their front yard where the drone lands, but it's a pretty interesting concept, right? And I think that you may even see people with certain personal preferences to what type of delivery mechanism. I could see some people having interest in what type of delivery mechanism that they want in the first place. Do I want it to come to my house by drone? Do I want it to come by a routed truck that goes to my front door? So I think all of these things are creating the need to be able to bring data together, to perform analysis at the speed of the market, and then to be able to deliver. Because I think people are getting used to ordering something and having it show up the same day or the next day. I think that's kind of a standard, right? And if you're not at scale, I don't know how you do that. It's very difficult otherwise, right?
And one more thing, we talked about global context. Do you see a difference between, let's say, US autonomous decision science, Europe, Asia? Will it be a global mindset, or will it be more localized in a sense? What is your guess there? can you really use ADS on a global scale?
I think you could use ADS wherever there's data. So in the parts of the world that capture and collect data, I think we could use ADS, and I think we could use ADS rather robustly. I don't think it is country boundary centric, right? I think it is data centric, and policies that allow for the free use of data, I think is centric. I think certain things that ADS brings as a byproduct, like the ability to be ESG compliant, right? And to be able to make decisions that consider the environment and that consider compliance with rules and regulations, and like I said, being able to lower things like carbon footprint and things are considerations that we bake into the ADS optimization. So for example, if you want to have your company be able to become ESG compliant, right? We can bake into the optimization constraints that would allow the recommendations to be made only in ways that are compliant with those rules or corporate goals. So I think you'll not only see an efficiency driver to it, but you'll see countries or companies that want to be ESG compliant use this kind of capability to systemically address that type of topic, because the optimization itself that makes the decision of what to do is constrained by, if they want it to be, constrained by the rules for things like ESG compliance or local country guidelines for doing A, B, and C, right?
Yeah. We have a question. I will shortly take that. The thing there that I really like, and then you explained that, is I'm working currently on a show to say technological retail, the parameters for Europe, because in the end, in Europe, you have, like you said, a different view on data, personalized data usage, on sustainability of products, on, for example, cash payment at retail. So you have to have a different setting, but that can be adapted in the algorithms in order to give a Procter & Gamble or Nestle, whoever would be one of the customers, that additional information there. I really like that one. So we have the question from Nava, and that's your call. What is the differentiator of Entera solution, and what is their competition? So that I really like that one, because it's always good to see who is in the market. Yeah.
Well, the differentiator, the main differentiator for Entera is we bring together two very, very siloed areas of computer science into one application. One is we bring together knowledge that's derived from analyzing mathematics and computational analysis with semantic reasoning. So we generate insights from two distinct areas. One is the statistical and mathematical and very advanced glass box machine learning capabilities that we have, coupled with an AI that's not defined as a machine learning algorithm, but AI that's defined as semantic reasoning and symbolic logic, which allows the machine to reason in a human-like fashion. So we bring together two big pieces: computational intelligence, glass box analysis of data and nonlinear optimization, with semantic reasoning. And those two worlds have historically been separated. In other words, the people didn't blend their capabilities together. So we have a platform that is based upon that. That platform, if you posit that those things are possible, you could design end-to-end optimization and decision-making systems uniquely, because you have unique gear to bring to the table that allows you to introspect data, perform optimization, but then reason in a human-like fashion to make a decision and then learn from the outcomes of that decision. The competition that we have is on one hand many, and on the other hand none. If you look at the evolution of data science, right? There are very good data science companies, firms like Palantir or C3 AI or others that are firms that have gone public in the last couple of years that are data science firms. We are the next step in the journey beyond that. Like I said, where the machine plays the role of the data scientist and the subject matter expert. So in that particular aspect, we're peerless in that market space. But there are hundreds of data science firms and hundreds of firms that call themselves artificial intelligence companies, many of which are not, but in terms of the absolute use of AI. But the notion is we compete in the marketplace with the best run data science firms and consultancies like Accenture and Deloitte and others who are the global consultants who provide technology consulting and operating model consulting work to clients. While we don't do the consulting, they provide systems that we improve upon in our ADS journey.
So for me, those two systems that you bring together as a very low former at informatics in my studies, more of an engineer, but that for me is on the one hand muscle, to have the muscle capability to really go through the data, and the other is the brain to make the semantic decisions and putting muscles and brain together. That's
it.
Very easy understanding, yeah.
Yes, Joseph, it's very easy.
Okay, no, that's a good one. So, Nava, thanks for the question there. Actually, we are already over time, so we are already at 32 minutes. Any more questions from the audience? Please post them in the chat now. Otherwise, I think we covered really a vast journey, and I think, for me, it was very nice to get this glimpse into that coming and available, but like I said, it will be much bigger universe of ADS there to come, and probably something that will touch us all sooner or later.
Well, thank you very much, Joseph. I really appreciate your time and hosting of this series. I've listened to some of your others; they're fantastic. I recommend them to everybody. But thank you very much for including us today.
Thanks a lot, Stephen. So all the best to San Francisco. Have a fantastic day, and hear you soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.